Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to demonstrate one of the methods used in ethical hacking, which is called eavesdropping, right? And throughout the presentation and demonstration, we'll talk about the methods and mitigation of the attacks that is done in eavesdropping. Next slide, please. Now, let's go to the introduction of what we're going to present today. So if we try to understand ethical hacking, before discussing what is eavesdropping, let's try to understand ethical hacking. And it's basically, it's a process which, helps us to strengthen the digital defenses of servers and systems that we use on a daily basis. Now, focusing on eavesdropping, it actually helps the attackers, like it actually helps the cybersecurity people to sort of understand how the attackers are planning the attack, right, and how they are trying to illegally access systems, and helps us basically identify what they could do and eventually make our systems and servers stronger, right. Next slide, please. Now, let's talk about the agenda of what we're going to present and demonstrate today. So we'll start with what is eavesdropping, then we'll discuss the types of eavesdropping, the motivations, why it is important in using in the space of cybersecurity, what are the eavesdropping techniques, how companies take care of the compliance issues when they are actually eavesdropping, right? Mitigation strategies, the tools and technologies that are used in eavesdropping, ethical hacking frameworks, within which the codes are written in order to, get into a server and see what the attacker might do. And finally, we'll conclude. Next slide, please. Now, discussing about what is eavesdropping, right? It basically, in the context of cybersecurity, it's a term used to describe unlawful interception of personal communication, right? So when two people or two servers or two systems are interacting with each other, there's a third party which sort of keeps an eye on what is actually happening while the other two entities don't know about that thing. Now, the important attributes of the same is the covert nature, passive observation, right, without the two parties knowing that something is being observed, right, and information gathering. Now, there's a thin line between ethical eavesdropping, and non-ethical hacking, right, which the companies actually take care of through compliance. And it can happen in three ways, which is digital communication, voice communication, and network communication, right? It is important because it helps the people identify vulnerabilities and do risk mitigation. Next slide, please. Now, discussing about types of eavesdropping, the one is passive eavesdropping, where it basically as I said, it involves listening to how the systems and servers are interacting without the other entities knowing. Active eavesdropping basically involves participating in a conversation and trying to sway either of the parties towards one direction, and that happens in cybersecurity as well, right? Then the third one is inside eavesdropping, where it's performed by individuals who work for a company, such as insiders, right? Uh, so when two systems within the company interact with each other, there's a third party which is actually an insider in the company who tries to track what exactly is happening between the systems, right? And outside eavesdropping is basically executed by outside parties or attackers, right? And this is what we are basically concerned about, right? Outside eavesdropping is basically an attacker trying to get into the systems and trying to see what exactly is happening between the systems and eventually, getting an illegal access to it. So these are the four types of eavesdropping, which is passive, active, inside, and outside. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so let's discuss about the motivations behind the eavesdropping. So it involves industrial espionage, competitor analysis, nation state surveillance, cyber criminal activities. So let's talk about first industrial espionage. So it's a prevalent motivation for eavesdropping. Competitors may employ various tactics to gather sensitive business information, such as hidden surveillance. It continuously monitors the employee's conversation and actions to gather the important data. Then stealing intellectual property, which means extracting trade secrets, patents, and innovations through the digital espionage. Then sabotaging operations, which means like it involves intercepting communication to disrupt the flow of information and damage a company or reputation. Then second is competitor analysis, which is nothing but an ongoing process that helps the businesses stay ahead. Eavesdropping techniques provide valuable insights into the strategies. It involves digital marketing, which means like gaining intelligence on competitors, online advertising campaigns, and SEO strategies. It focuses on group listening in on market research session to uncover customers' preferences and product improvement. Then mood meetings. It involves the monitoring confidential discussions to understand plans and potential of partnership. And third one is nation state surveillance. So it often engages with the further political and military interest. Their sophisticated methods make detection and the prevention challenging. So it involves Trojan horse attacks and covert web tracking, which is nothing but like deploying a malicious software to infiltrate the targeted system and gather sensitive information. And also covered web tracking means the companies are using advanced algorithm and data mining techniques to track the individual's online activity. And the fourth one is cyber criminal activities, which is to exploit the vulnerabilities and gain unauthorized access to the sensitive information, which includes credential theft, finance fraud, and data breaches. Next slide, please. So the common eavesdropping techniques are as follows. First is packet sniffing. Second is man in middle attack. Third one is wireless eavesdropping and phone tapping. So, in packet sniffing, it captures and analyzes the network traffic to intercept sensitive information like passwords and emails. Man in middle attack, which is nothing but it exploits vulnerabilities to intercept and alter communications between two parties secretly. Wireless eavesdropping means intercept data, transmitting wireless networks potentially by bypassing the encryption. Phone tapping is illegally to listen or record telephone conversations without their knowledge of their targeted individuals. Next slide, please. So legal and ethical consideration in cybersecurity means it refers to the legal responsibilities and regulations that individual and organization must adhere to order protect their privacy, data privacy, intellectual property insights, and address compliance challenges. So the first one is preventing cybercrimes. It means to explore the role of ethical hacking. It means to it explored the role of ethical hacking in identifying vulnerabilities and preventing malicious cyber activities. And second is enhancing security. It means discover how the ethical hacking helps the organizations to strengthen their defenses and stay one step ahead of the potential threats. Building trust. It means engaging in ethical hacking demonstrate a commitment to security, which fosters the trust among the users, clients, and partners, actively seeking out vulnerabilities and taking steps to address them. Organization shows their dedications to protect the sensitivity data and maintain the privacy of the stakeholders. Next slide, please. So legal implication and compliance it refers to the legal responsibilities and regulations that individuals and organizations must order to protect the data privacy and the rights and address compliance challenges. First one is data privacy regulation. So data privacy regulations are the laws that governs how the personal and sensitive data should be collected, stored, and processed and shared. These regulations are aimed to protect the individual's privacy and prevent unauthorized access or misuse their information. For example, data privacy regulation includes the General Data Protection Regulation and Consumer Privacy Act in the United States. Second one is intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights means the creation of the mind, such as inventions, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. Protecting these rights is crucial in cybersecurity to prevent the unauthorized use, theft, and interference these assets. Compliance challenges includes the need to adhere the various regulations. It highlights the complexity of associated without ensuring the compliance without involving cybersecurity regulations and industry standards. Next slide, please.
So now let's look on some mitigation strategies that eavesdropping techniques, that could have been incorporated into eavesdropping. So one of which is encryption. So mitigation in eavesdropping is encrypting communication that prevents that unauthorized interception. An example of this could be using end-to-end encryption in messaging apps like Signal protect messages from eavesdroppers. Another one is network segmentation. So a mitigation technique of eavesdropping in network segmentation is restricting network access that reduces the surface area for eavesdropping. An example could be isolating sensitive servers on a separate network segment prevents eavesdropper from easily accessing critical data. Regular auditing is also an eavesdropping mitigation technique. So auditing detects abnormal patterns and potential eavesdropping activities. An example is regularly monitoring network logs that can uncover unauthorized access attempts indicative of eavesdropping. Security awareness trainings. Educating users helps them recognize and report suspicious activities, preventing unintentional leaks. An example is training employees to identify phishing emails reduces the risk of falling victim to eavesdropping attempts through compromised credentials. Some of the tools used for eavesdropping are Wireshark, TCP dump, Metasploit, Wi-Fi sniffers, for example, air cracking, Ettercap, and Kane enable. So I'm going to explain the description of these tools and how they're used in eavesdropping. Wireshark, a powerful network protocol analyzer that captures data on a network in real time. Its use in eavesdropping is as follows. Wireshark allows ethical hackers to intercept and analyze network traffic, helping identify vulnerabilities and securities. TCP dump, a command line packet analyzer that captures and displays network traffic in textual format. Its uses in eavesdropping are as follows. Ethical hackers use TCP dump to capture packets, gaining insights into potential vulnerabilities. Metasploit, an open source penetration testing framework that provides tools for developing, testing, and executing exploits. Its uses in eavesdropping are Metasploit can be utilized to simulate and launch eavesdropping attacks, helping ethical hackers understand and defend against such threats. Wi-Fi sniffers. Tools like aircracking are used for monitoring and analyzing Wi-Fi networks, including capturing data packets. Its use in eavesdropping are as follows. Ethical hackers use Wi-Fi sniffers to assess the security of wireless networks, identifying vulnerabilities and potential eavesdropping points. And there are tools like Ettercap and Keenable, which have their own uses in eavesdropping, and they have their own comprehensive manner that can be used for eavesdropping. So let's look how eavesdropping has been incorporated into ethical hacking frameworks and can be used as a certified ethical hacking technique. Its methodology is a CEH guides professionals through systematic approach. Eavesdropping integrated into the analysis phase using tools like Wireshark that we discussed earlier. Legal compliance on this could be an emphasis obtaining proper authorization, ensures adherence to legal and compliance standards during eavesdropping. Documentation and reporting of CEH could be the stresses thorough documentation and reporting. Eavesdropping findings documented, including methods used and vulnerabilities identified. It's a continuous learning process. It encourages ongoing skill development. There are specific training modules on eavesdropping techniques that ethical hackers could go through as a process of their skill development. Ethical guidelines includes a code of ethics for professionals. Eavesdropping activities guided by ethical principles for responsible and lawful practices. Prakhar, would you like to conclude the demonstration that we just had?
Of course, yeah. To conclude the points and what all we discussed, right? Now we throughout the presentation we delved into the nuances of eavesdropping, right? Its forms, incentives, incentives and the methods of eavesdropping. And it plays a very important role in the ethical hacking domain, right? When it comes to eavesdropping, it acts as a weapon to strengthen the cybersecurity of systems. Legal and ethical considerations are also important because you don't want to breach into data which is illegal, which is in an illegal manner, right? Then we discussed about mitigation strategies, right, to how to combat eavesdropping concerns, and we've seen techniques like encryption, network segmentation, etc. And lastly, identifying difficulties, the necessity for sophisticated detection systems is highlighted by the acknowledgement of the challenges, basically, when it comes to the whole eavesdropping activity. Uh, Thank you so much. This was all about eavesdropping from our side, Group 7. Thank you.